So types of feedback amplifiers. So all the above points, what I said, the positive points and reduction of negative points are achieved by means of feedback. So what is feedback now? A portion of output signal is taken from the output of amplifier and is combined with the input signal, and thereby feedback is accomplished. So you have an amplifier. This, consider this box is going to be your amplifier. You have your input signal here, you have your output signal here. So this is an amplifier without feedback. You give a sine wave through the amplifier, the sine wave will be an amplified version of the sine wave. This is your normal amplifier. If I want to apply feedback to this amplifier, very simple. From the output, you take a portion of the signal and you add it with the input signal. So now your amplifier no longer goes only in this path. Some output will be coming in this path and getting mixed with the input, and that will be amplified again. So this process is going to be repetitive. It forms a loop. I think you can understand, right? So the normal amplifiers will not have this path. So this is a normal amplifier where everything will function as usual. When you give a normal sine, then it will be amplified. But when you provide a feedback, feedback is taking the signal from the output and giving it back to the input, or I'm mixing it with the input. So this is called as the feedback path. This is called as the direct path. This is called as the feedback path. Okay, so direct path and feedback path will be there for a feedback amplifier. Okay, based on what feedback you are going to give, the amplifiers are classified accordingly. So I'm going to take some portion of output, I'm going to take some portion of output and I'm going to mix it with the input signal. So this is going to create a feedback effect. This is very simple. This is what we are going to do. So the basic amplifiers, you know, there are 4 categories of amplifiers as we have seen earlier. You know, voltage amplifier, you will have voltage gain, output voltage by input voltage. Current amplifier, you will have current gain, output current by input current. Trans conductance amplifier. Trans conductance means, you know, trans conductance is given by I by V. The formula for conductance is I by V. Transனால என்ன மீனிங்னா ஒரு parameter is output, one parameter is input. So you know gain is always numerator you will get output, denominator you will get input, right? So trans conductance means I out by V in. I by V, I out by V in. Trans resistance. Resistance, you know, R is equal to V by I. And transனாலே I told you one parameter is taken from output, one parameter is taken from input. So R is equal to V out by I in. Okay, so depending on whatever the amplifier is going to amplify, you can classify the amplifier into 4 categories: voltage amplifier, current amplifier, trans conductance amplifier, and trans resistance amplifier. Okay, and you can also measure what is the input and output impedance of the amplifier. So along with the input and output impedance, you can measure all the other parameters like voltage gain, current gain, trans conductance, and trans resistance also for amplifier. And any amplifier will have an input, will have an output, right? So input side you will have a source resistance, output side you will have a load resistance. So all these will be included when you compute the parameters: voltage gain, current gain, trans conductance, trans resistance, input impedance, output impedance. Everything will be considered along with the source and load impedances. So you have the input side, you will have a source impedance. At the output side, you will have the load impedance. So these basic amplifiers are going to be used in the feedback amplifiers. So we are going to see what is the concept of each amplifier now: voltage amplifier, current amplifier, trans conductance amplifier, and trans resistance